In this lesson we will use Pythagoras to solve worded problems. The equipment you require for this lesson are pen and paper, pencil, calculator and a ruler. The key words for this lesson are hypotenuse, right angle triangle, opposite the angle, square and square root. So the first example that we have is a worded question. So let's find out what the problem is. So a ladder is leaning against the wall. The base of the ladder is 1 meter away from the wall and reaches a height of 10 meters up the wall. Calculate the length of the ladder. Give your answer to 2 decimal places. Now when you have a worded problem, one advice that I would like to give you is always sketch out the problem. So if I was to sketch out this problem, I would have a diagram that looks similar to this. So in this diagram we have a ladder which is represented by this straight line, and I have 2 sides, 1 meter and 10 meters. Now how have I come up with this diagram? Well, the question does say that the base of the ladder is 1 meter away from the wall. This is the base of the ladder and here is the wall, and this base is 1 meter away from the wall. That's why this side is 1 meter. It also says that the ladder reaches a height of 10 meters. So at this point, this is the height where the ladder reaches. Therefore, this side will be 10 meters, just like the diagram explains. Now this forms a right angle triangle. And we are trying to calculate the length of the ladder. So in this example, the length of the ladder is the longest side. So let's use Pythagoras to find the length of the ladder. The first step is to label the triangle with A, B and C. The longest side is always called C, and the other 2 sides we can call A and B. So first of all, we are going to write down the formula: A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The next step, I will insert the information that I've been given in the question. So instead of A, I will write down 1 squared, and instead of B, I will write down 10 squared, and that has to equal C squared. So let's carry out the calculations. So 1 squared is 1, 10 squared is 100, and that has to equal C squared. I know that 1 add 100 is 101, and that is C squared. So to find out C, I will need to square root the 101 to get C. When I square root the 101, I end up with an answer that is a decimal. The question says, give your answer to 2 decimal places. Square root of 101 is 10.04987562. So to 2 decimal places, this will be 10.05. So my answer is 10.05, and I need to make sure I write down the correct units. We're talking about meters. So my answer is 10.05. Okay, for this example, we've been given 3 sides, and we are asked if this is a right angle triangle. So the 3 sides are AB equals 12 centimeters, BC 17 and AC 22 centimeters. If you are given 3 lengths in an exam and you are asked whether it's a right angle triangle, the first thing that I would recommend you to do is to draw a right angle triangle. Now we should already know that the slanted side, i.e. the side opposite the right angle, is the longest side in a triangle. So we will call this 22 centimeters, as from the 3 lengths 22 is the longest. And then the other 2 sides, we'll call that one 12 and that one 17. It doesn't actually matter which one you call 12 and which one you call 17, but as this side is longer than this side, we'll call this side 17 and this side 12. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first ignore the longer side. I'm going to ignore this 22 centimeters, and I will use the 12 centimeters and the 17 centimeters to find out what this length would be. If my answer is 22 centimeters, that means this triangle is a right angle triangle, and if it is anything else, it means it is not a triangle. It is not a right angle triangle. So first thing we need to do is to label the triangle like we've always done. So the longest side we will call that C, and the other two sides we'll call A and B. So first step, write down the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Next thing, let's insert the information into our formula. So instead of A, we will write down 12 squared. Instead of B, we will write down 17 squared. And that will equal C squared. The next thing what we need to do is to carry out the calculations. So I know that 12 squared is 144. And I will add that to what 17 squared is, which is 289. And that must equal C squared. That means that 144 add 289, which is 433, must be equal to C squared. And therefore, to find out C, I will need to square root the 433. So let's use a calculator to square root 433, and I get 20.81 to 2 decimal places, which means that using 12 and 17, side C has to be 20.81 for it to be a right angle triangle. Therefore this triangle is not a right angle triangle. Okay, what I want you to do, if you're in set 4, I want you to start from the red, do all 4 questions, and then go on to the green question. If you're in set 3, what I want you to do is at least do one from the red and then go on to the green section.